Good day, Sir Edward Bonganay. This is our final project video presentation discussing the equality and discrimination in the Philippines.
The current issues and problems about equality and discrimination here in the Philippines. The number one, the gender equality and inequality. Nowadays, gender inequality still exists and some people don't accept other genders such as LGBTQ, and some people didn't agree about the same-sex relationship, especially in Roman Catholicism, and they didn't agree because they said that our God only created a man and woman and nothing else. But then, most Filipinos accept the LGBTQ community this year at the Quezon City Pride Month Festival. A lot of people joined in the festival to show their support for the LGBTQ community. So, sa festival na yun is sinelebrate ng mga LGBTQ, which is dati is na-discriminate yung gender nila kasi parang hindi naman daw acceptable na magkaroon pa ng other gender other than man and woman. So, but then, nung nag-celebrate ng Pride Month this year, maraming tao yung nakijoin and they really accept the LGBTQ community. So, that. Number two, poverty and income inequality. Despite recent economic growth, poverty and income inequality are still major problems in the Philippines. The advantage of development were not distributed equally among marginalized population in rural areas, leaving many of these areas behind that would have benefited from it. This has led a growth up gap between the rich and the poor, which has serious implication for getting access to healthcare, education, and other necessities like water. So, this problem po sa Pilipinas, yung poverty and income inequality po kasi like yung pagkakaroon ng inequality and discrimination po sa mga mahihirap like sa about sa education, sa healthcare na hindi po sila nabibigyan ng maayos na pangailangan nila doon kasi dahil sa kakulangan nga sa pera, sa income. So yun, nagkakaroon ng hindi pantay and pag discriminate sa nila kasi nga wala naman silang pambayad. The corruption, the Philippines continues to face a significant problem from the corruption. Fighting corruption is difficult because it penetrates public institution, public services, and commercial dealing all at once. There is also lack of accountability and openness in government. So, in this problem here in the Philippines, the inequalities here, yung pangkukarap ng mga government sa dapat na napupunta sa bayan is na kinakamkam ng mga dapat na nagsiservisyo sa bayan. So, wala ditong equality and naka-discriminate na sila ng ibang tao because wala silang hindi nila na kita parang nagkakaroon ng pantay-pantay. So here, the number 4 is human right. The Philippines record on the human right has drawn a lot of criticism, extrajudicial execution, police brutality, and press freedom violation have all been and subject to numerous association. These problems have allegedly gotten worse under the present administration, which is accused for stifling decent and restricted civil freedoms. So, dito po sa human rights is magkakaroon tayo ng may equality and meron ding discrimination. Because yung diba sa human right is hindi rin parang hindi napapatupad sa dapat mapatupadan ng yung human rights na yon. So nagkakaroon doon ng discrimination para sa mga taong hindi na bibigyan ng tamang hustisya or tamang pag ano sa kanila, parang right appropriate para sa kanila, parang yung right judgment. Kasi nga wala, parang hindi nakikita yun sa kanila or nagkakaroon ng hindi tamang pagbibigay ng doon sa human rights and equality naman para sa mga nabibigyan ng tamang justisya para doon. Number 5, education system. Numerous issues plague in the Philippines education system such as inadequate funding, poor training, inaccessibility to education for underprivileged students, and out-of-date curricula. Economic growth and development of the human capital have been negatively impacted by this problem. So, sa education system kasi is parang hindi nagkakaroon ng parang pantay-pantay para sa lahat kasi nga mayroong iba na mga mahirap din sa pag-aaral, kaya hindi sila pag-aaral ng mabuti dahil nga din sa mga may gastusin sa eskwelahan or parang iba din sa mga eskwelahan is may bayad na. 6. Political dynasties in Philippine politics, dynasties are constant, frequently this take the form of the family member occupying elected offices, which may impede through administration. In addition to stifling political competition, political dynasty frequently support nepotism and corruption. So, yon pasok dito yung corruption, like nung una nagkakaroon ng discrimination dahil sa pagkakorap ng iba. So, dito sa political dynasty, parang yung nagpapasapasahan na lang yung ibang membro ng pamilya dun sa mga position or mga dapat na ay ganyan, parang nagko-corrupt na lang sila, yung pamilya na lang nila yung nakikinabang sa pera ng bayan. Number 6, cybersecurity and online privacy. The Philippine spread of digital technologies had brought forth new concern about the online privacy and the cybersecurity. Because of this rise online crime against the people and the privacy violation, it is now necessary to impose stricter law and law enforcement procedures to protect the public from the potential danger. So, here kasi nagkakaroon ng parang pagkakaroon ng mga bagay na nakakapag-discriminate sa mga tao through online. So, nagkakaroon sila ng paraan para makapag-discriminate or gulo sa kapwa nila through online. So, yun. Development to promote economic growth and development of the Philippines requires upgrading its infrastructure, transformation system, power grid, and the water supply. The lack of adequate infrastructure has distributed to high cost and doing business that impede its competitiveness and hinder development efforts. Infrastructure development is yun, nagkakaroon ng equally ngayon kasi nagpapatayo na ng mga like mga tourist spots, mga daanan para sa ikagaganda and kakaunlad ng ating bayan. So, yun.
I am Roberto II A. Montero from BIT2R ELXA. My purpose here is to talk about moral implication, inequality, and discrimination here in the Philippines. So come on and listen. First, what is moral implication? Moral implication refers to a person's ideals, belief about what is right or wrong, their standards and values. It involves ethical consideration and consequences associated with a particular action, design, or situation, reflecting a personal moral framework and principle. The moral implication of a situation refer to the ethical considerations and principles involved. In the context of equality and discrimination in the Philippines, the moral implication revolve around the ethical standards and values associated with treating all individuals fairly, promoting justice, and upholding human rights. Addressing these issues involve a commitment to moral principles that prioritize equality, respect, and dignity for every person in society. In the Philippines, the pursuit of equality is crucial for fostering a just society. Discrimination based on factors like gender, ethnicity, or socioeconomic status can hinder this goal. Addressing these issues promotes social cohesion and human rights, contributing to a more inclusive and harmonious nation. Allow me to show some examples here at gender discriminatory practices in hiring based on gender-based wage discrimination. Women on average may receive lower salaries than men for similar roles. Doon pa lang makita nyo na yung unfair diba? So the moral implication here is giving fair chances and opportunities to both genders. Another one is ensuring that individuals are judged based on merit rather than discriminatory criteria. For last in our example here, promoting equal pay for equal work, challenging gender stereotype and advocating for policies that ensure fairness in compensation regardless of gender. Efforts toward transparency and awareness play a crucial role in combating such discriminatory practices. In ethnicity, unequal, unequal treatment or opportunities for individuals of certain ethnic backgrounds in areas such as employment, education, or access to services. In moral implication, promoting diversity, inclusivity, and challenging discriminatory attitudes. And let's go for socioeconomic status. First is unequal access to education or employment opportunities. Individuals from lower socioeconomic background might face barriers that limit their social mobility and access to resources. In terms of disability, discrimination, examples include an inaccessible infrastructure, discriminatory hiring practices, or social exclusion. People with disabilities may encounter challenges in areas like transportation, workplace, accommodation, or societal perceptions, hindering their full potential and equal participation. The moral implication in socioeconomic status that I believe is efforts to eliminate discrimination involve creating inclusive environment, advocating for equal opportunities, and challenging stereotypes related to socioeconomic status and disability. And that's all for me. Thank you for listening. I hope you were able to understand what I wanted for you to know in my topic.
The moral solutions of the equality and discrimination in the Philippines. The moral solution is a solution that is in line with a set of ethical principles or values. Number 1. Gender equality and inequality is a one of discrimination on the basis of sex or gender, causing one sex or gender to be routinely privileged in the Philippines. However, it is essential that we take steps to address it, whether that be through providing girls with access to education. It is also by implementing policies that promoting gender equality in the workplace. It is also important to address our structural and cultural barriers that preventing women from accessing healthcare in the Philippines. Number 2, poverty and income inequality. It is important to address poverty in order to be able us to improve our overall quality of health of every person living in the Philippines. To To address poverty and income inequality is policy or government only can help to reduce this issue. By supporting every employment and workers, and also improving education access and quality in every status of living, and also by promoting exclusive rural development here in the Philippines. Number 3, corruption. The Philippines suffer from many incidents of corruption and crime in many aspects in life. To address corruption in the Philippines is first, we need to stop dishonest practices by voting wisely in election. And here in the Philippines, poverty is known factor that encourages corruption in local governments. Some of the government are corrupt, and in order to address this issue, we also need to vote wisely during the election to prevent corruption in our government. And number 4, human rights. Here in the Philippines, human right is considered issue or problem due to the acts of violence, criminalization, and other abuses based on sexual orientation. To address human rights issue, first is we need to stop violation. We need to speak up if we notice any threats or join forces with other through peaceful protest and petition. Number 5, education system. So, to address education system inequality is kailangan natin mag-reduce ng hindi pagkapantay-pantay ng status ng pagtuturo here in the Philippines. Why? Kasi sa between country inequality is kailangan natin ng equitable resource distribution. However, we can address the education system inequality by investing in education and skills development and implementing social protection measures. And number 6, political dynasties. So, yung political dynasties kasi, like Mejia said, in the Philippines are constant. Frequently, this takes the form of family members occupying elected offices. For example, is yung Marcos family and so on. So, in order para masolusyonan natin tong issue na to is we need to promote transparency and accountability to promote greater transparency and accountability in the political process. So, medyo effectiveness tong solution na to, pero naka-aim tong solution na to promote more democratic here in the Philippines. And number 7, cybersecurity and online privacy. So, like he said, is because of this rise in online crime against people and privacy violations, to address this issue is, syempre, kailangan din natin maging responsible citizen sa paggamit ng mga technologies nowadays. When it comes in our privacy and mga accounts and technology is we need to be responsible for it. We need a limitation and security to reduce online crime against people and privacy violations in the Philippines. Number 8, infrastructure development. And poor infrastructure is also a large factor of poverty. In the Philippines, insufficient infrastructure has been a major constraint to economic growth in the Philippines. In order to address this issue we need to change our infrastructure development use and better maintaining and modernizing the infrastructure. Next reporter.
Suggestion to solve those issues in the Philippines. The problems in the Philippines are complex and multifaceted, and there's no one-size-fits-all solution. Some of the major issues facing the country include poverty, corruption, lack of access to education and healthcare, and political instability. To address these problems, a comprehensive approach that involves government policies, social programs, and community involvement could implement anti-corruption measures, increase funding for education and healthcare, and promote economic growth through infrastructure development and job creation. At the same time, non-governmental organizations and community groups could work to improve access to education and healthcare, empower marginalized communities, and promote civic engagement. Ultimately, and the key to solving the problems in the Philippines is to address the root causes of these issues and work collaboratively to create a more just and equitable society. Next is, what are the problems that needed attention in our society in the Philippines? Well, poverty, lack of education, drug or substance abuse, vice, crime and unemployment are among the many problems that continue to batter them. Likewise, recent issues on the rising number of street children in urban centers, child abuse, forced labor, and pedophilia are quite alarming, aggravating the plight of the youth. Another suggestion, there are hundreds of problems the government of the Philippines is facing today, and even in the past, some of them can be considered solved while some are not. Some problems are recurring while others are permanent, and therefore the solutions are only temporary. However, it is worth commenting on how the current government is responding to the needs of the Filipino people. The rise of the Philippines Stock Exchange Index is a valid proof that several economic measures are taking effect. The legal measures are showing results in the sense that the fight against corruption is not a Ningas Gone platform. The call for peace in Mindanao is ongoing despite of the threats against it, but people will not be contented for as long they are not seeing themselves liberated from the plagues of time. Moreover, when people see countries that are better than theirs, they keep on asking questions. They benchmark what they can see, hear, and feel from other countries against the Philippines.
And that's all our video presentation discussing the equality and discrimination in the Philippines. Thank you for watching.